Wake up. It's time for Primal Scream.
Welcome back to the Primal Scream. I'm Matt.
I'm Todd.
And today's episode of the Primal Scream podcast is brought to you by It Works.
Gotta have your greens.
Gotta have your greens. And this is a new thing for me. So, yeah.
You're gonna poop great. Let's just put it that way.
You think so?
No, I'm kidding. It just makes you feel good. Like I said, I haven't been sick in probably a year and a half.
But
and I do attribute it to that because I have that twice a day, every day.
You do greens. This is berry flavor. What I do is, I do about 8 ounces of orange juice. And I do the berry flavor in the orange
8 ounces
juice.
of pure sugar water. Good.
Pure sugar water. And I put the greens in it. And it tastes fantastic. There's
You should
two
just
flavors.
try it.
There's
Just-
like an orange flavor and there's a berry flavor. And I've
You
done
should just
I've
do
done it in
it.
just water.
Yeah, you should not drink that sugar water.
Okay, I probably shouldn't. But I like orange juice. It's okay for relax. It works, ladies and gentlemen. It works.
Nice. That's our first little spot.
Yeah, and then I'm
So-
gonna follow. I'm not gonna follow that up with just in case I need to wet my whistle.
You wet your whistle. I'm gonna wet my brain.
Okay,
Okay.
there it is.
Okay. So I wanted to talk to you about.
Oh wait, hold on.
Oh,
It's June 14th, 2014.
and the reason you know that is not because you have a Chuck Kavanaugh watch yet,
That's correct.
but you are having one designed, and Chuck is doing that right now.
So let me just. There are a few things that are. I'm going to speak in generalities. Okay. Most men. It's known that most men really are into gadgets and knives and manly stuff. Because even though I don't camp, even though I don't rock climb, even though I don't hunt,
But
I
you've
can't
camped
not-
and rock climbed before.
I have done those
Yeah.
things, but I don't do it enough that I'm like, yeah, I need to look at all these pictures of all the different gear.
Right.
But it's just inherently, I think just inherently guys love that shit. Gadgety shit,
I love it.
knives, hatchets. But another thing is watches. Dudes love watches.
Mm-hmm.
So yesterday, we got to go to Chuck Kavanaugh's new location in the Cherry Building in Cedar Rapids, Iowa.
At the Nubo Market.
Nubo Market Cherry Building?
Yeah.
Is that how it's?
Well, I think it's just the Nubo area.
The Nubo area.
It's right next to the Nubo Market. How's that?
And oh my God, the Cherry Building itself, if you live in the Cedar Rapids area, even if you don't, if you're in like the Iowa City, Quad Cities, Cedar Falls area, you should come to Cedar Rapids because there is a building, and I didn't know this.
And this is the hard part about it is that you go to Iowa City, for example, and you go to the quad area, and there's bars and there's shops and there's neat things kind of all around the area that
Yeah.
college kids are into. The second floor has tattoo parlors and different things like that. It's just a very unique area, which is why people like Iowa City so much.
Right.
But the hard part is that with the Cherry Building or even the Nubo area, or the Cherry Building in particular, is it's just a big building. There's no signage. There's nothing there, and if you don't know what's inside there, you're never ever going to hear about it or see it.
how many
know?
businesses do you think are in there? 20, 30?
Yeah, at least.
At least 20 or 30 really unique, small craftsman type businesses. I mean, there's
Photography, yoga, ceramics, artwork, leather work, obviously with Chuck, blown glass and glass work, necklaces, jewelry.
classes that you could go and learn how to do stuff.
Yeah,
Also,
musical instrument repair, musical instrument lessons. Ecolips, which we love. Ecolips is
Right.
their main location. Is there? I mean, it's an astounding place, and I've always liked it, but I've never got so wrapped up into it because I had not walked through the entire building, and I just was kind of caught off guard last night by how much stuff was happening in that building. And that Chuck gets to be part of that. That's pretty cool.
well,
You know?
it fits him. It fits him perfectly, and it's such a neat place. So if you are in the need to have something different, if you have the need to go somewhere And
Hell, there was the metalwork studio guy who does nothing but metalwork. They have
yeah,
a fire
kiln
with logs and stuff like that, and then they have regular kilns to do their firing of their clay products. My
ceramics.
sister
Yeah.
just freaked out when she saw that outdoor fire kiln. She just thought it was like the greatest thing ever, and I was like, "What's so? I mean, it's just another kiln." And she's like, "Oh no, you can control the heat differently. Different woods do different things at different glazes, and all." And I was like, oh, "Jesus, I had no idea." My sister's a professional artist, by the way, as a not a sculptor, but a ceramic potter maker. She got
potter
me
maker?
She got me this awesome double-handed beer mug that says my name on it, and it holds 3 beers. And I was like, just in case I get sloppy and I have to hold on to something, that's what I want to hold on to. And then
it's ginormous. It's huge.
Do you have one?
No.
Yes, you do.
I did until it got broke. It was broke, dude. It was broke on delivery.
Do you glue it? I didn't glue it.
No. I'm not going to glue it.
Why?
I mean, I appreciated the effort and it looked beautiful, but I'm not going to glue together a pitcher.
It is pretty much a picture.
It's a fucking pitcher of beer.
But only one handle broke, right?
No, it was
In pieces?
it was in pieces.
Shut the fuck
Large,
up.
large
Was
pieces.
it mailed to you from her? Or
No,
did I
wait.
bring it over? I didn't bring it over broken to you.
When I had it, it was in large pieces.
So,
It was in very large pieces.
but I didn't bring you a gift that was full of large pieces.
Dude, I don't know. I can't remember exactly because I've been in my house for 12 to 13 years now.
I think
And
you
before that,
I think it was the gift you didn't want from me and you just smashed it in to pieces.
that's it. The cool part is Chuck is sharing some space with some really neat people, and one of those neat people does custom glass work.
Yeah.
And so we were
Just a neat
talking.
lady.
Yeah, and we were talking to her and the other guy who
Does a lot of the glass work, it looks like.
Yeah.
Like the technical.
like he's really into it. You need to know. We brought up the fact that we have these whiskey bottles that we want to repurpose and make them into what are they called?
tumblers.
Tumblers, like really large, manly tumblers. And he's like, "Yeah, bring them in. We'll have to see like how thick the glass is and all this stuff, and we'll see if we can."
And of course, she was
Change
like,
'em.
"Why don't you guys come in
And
and
we'll
we'll
show
show
you
you
how
how
to
to
do
do
it,
it?" And I was
and you
like,
can do it. I was
There's my kind of artist. Not only am I going to show you how to do it, or how I'm going to do this for you, I'm going to show you how to do it as well.
Yeah,
so you
I
can
thought
do
that
it.
was really
Yeah, it was really
cool.
neat. But of course, it just feeds right back into it. People who, I mean, this is what I feel like I've fallen into, is you find people who are artistic and they're just kind of open and giving. Their art form is not because it's all about them and me and what I'm doing. It's more of like, hey, this is what I'm into. What are you into? Oh, hey, maybe I can help you out with that. You know,
Right.
That's kind of cool.
It's
I
just
like
a little. It's just a little jewel that I wasn't aware of a year ago. I wasn't aware
the
of
Cherry
6
Building
months
in
ago.
particular.
Yeah, where a lot of people are going that are very creative. And something that Chuck said yesterday was, almost everybody here has a full-time job somewhere else. So, you think of the people that you work with. There's all these people that when they go home at the end of the day, when they clock out from their boring 9 to 5, Monday through Friday jobs,
They're moneymaker.
there are some people that allow themselves time or make time.
Make time.
They make time,
make time.
to be creative and to fan that flame of creativity. So that's awesome.
Well, I mean, I think that's why I find it so appealing. I think is that this is our creativity.
Yeah, this is what we do.
And so
That's what
we
they
get
do.
so I think that's why you and I get so jazzed when we're down there, or we get so hyped up when we're around Chuck, because I think that it fans that flame where it's like going, okay, this is where we should be. We should be somewhere down here at some point if we can afford to do it. We should have a studio down here. We should have some kind of some availability. I mean, if we had a studio in the Cherry Building and we hit up every single business there and said, just do a podcast with us. It's just yours. You can just have it.
Yeah,
No
from
big-
time to time.
Yeah.
You know what? You're a strange duck. You are a strange duck. How did you get into what was with the smoke and the herbs and the glass and the healing
aromatherapy kind of
and
stuff.
there's life
Oh,
coaches. It's like,
yeah.
how do you prepare to be a life coach?
Yeah.
How do you do that?
Yeah, it was a healing center that did everything. Yoga,
Right.
all kinds of stuff
Right.
for healing. But yeah, absolutely.
How did you get into melting glass?
Yeah.
How did you get into that? Was it something that
Well, think of Chuck's story. We know Chuck's story is singularly unique, and I'm sure the glass guy is exactly the same way. I was working at the gas station, and I thought, boy, it'd be fun to. I really feel like I'm not doing much here, and so I want to do this instead. I mean,
or was it an art teacher in high school where they're starting to cut all these extracurricular classes and skill sets and saying, oh, we can't afford that stuff, but we can afford a new fucking football stadium. You know, when you get rid of creativity and art classes and things like that, and who knows, maybe that guy who does the custom glass work was inspired because his art teacher did some ceramics, or they did a special project where they melted glass, you know, and he remembered that after he got out of high school and thought, that was really fucking cool. I remember doing that. I'm going to look into it again.
Right.
You never know.
Well, I think the discussion you and I had yesterday about the school systems in particular, and we both know people who are teachers and are good teachers that are in the system, and we know of them as being creative people and having unique classrooms and the things that they do, even as just general education teachers.
Yeah.
But we do know that schools now are geared solely towards test scores. You know, they don't, you know, I think they're like, I want to say that there's schools in Europe. Most schools in Europe have recess like through 12th grade because they know kids need to get outside and get some fresh air or go run around and go do things. I mean, the idea for Americans, recess at fucking senior in high school, are you stupid? What are you talking about? You know? It's
well, I mean, we had like an extended like lunch hour.
Right, but it gives people, it's like you should have worked in times of play.
Well, there was one of our friends was talking about how you can some people can sign up for, you have to do a bare minimum now of one trimester of PE.
PE. In high school. Yeah.
In high school.
Yeah. And that's usually like a softball unit or a volleyball unit, or I mean, it's like these generic kind of like sports things. You know, it's just kind of weird. I've heard of some schools that have started more things like CrossFit, kind of like that, or not necessarily just CrossFit, but more of like purposeful body movement things, so you become a stronger, healthier adult later in your life. You know, anybody can learn how to play softball, volleyball. I'm not downing those sports because I love playing those sports.
Right.
But it's more of like in high school, here are some good things for you to learn: body awareness, body movement, you know, good cores, tight backs and stomachs, you know, trying to keep yourself, you know, healthy as an adult, because not all of us are going to be weightlifters and all that kind of crazy stuff, and not everybody is going to be super athletic. But if you have an idea of what you could get into when you got out of high school as an adult, that'd be great. If I had somebody who said, not necessarily CrossFit, but just said, hey, here's some great body weight exercises, you know, maybe that would have intrigued me more than the softball unit. You know, I'm just saying that, you know, at one point I'm playing pitcher, so I can learn how to do that. Great. Now I can play catcher. Awesome. This is fun. I'll play first base. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Something a little more useful as an adult would have been awesome.
All right. Yeah, but
Jesus Christ, we went way off there.
Yeah, we did. But back to the Cherry Building and Chuck. So we went to the Cherry Building to meet Chuck. He wanted to show us his new space, and so he's showing us all our stuff or all his stuff, and met some neat people. And I said, Chuck, I hope this isn't annoying to you right now. I know you might not be in the right mindset for this, but let's say I'm a customer. Let's just say I've walked into the Cherry Building for the very first time in my whole life, and I happened upon your leatherworking, your custom leatherwork, and I look at the cuffs, and I see the watch bands. Where do I go from there? And he goes, well, if you were interested, I'd get you a sheet, and you would fill out your sheet, and I'd walk you through it.
I do like how you did that. I thought that was interesting. It was kind of like, hey, I'm walking in brand new off the streets. Show me what you do. And he literally walked you through every step.
Yeah.
That was pretty cool.
I put my order in for a custom-made, completely unique, one-of-a-kind Chuck Kavanaugh watch band.
And you said, are you going to get TPSP on there somewhere?
I'm going to get TPSP on there somewhere. I haven't. Okay. I forgot to tell him that, but...
he's in the midst of a lot of things, so...
Right.
I think I want to do the same thing, but I want Bad Motherfucker on the inside. I wonder if he can, like...
You know, you could probably put whatever you want, saying-wise... on the inside.
That
way, every time you put it on, this is something just for you.
Yeah, that's what I thought would be. Oh, well, that's kind of funny just for me.
Bad motherfucker?
Bad motherfucker. Because
you're
just not
just
like that.
Yeah.
But it's funny. I think it's funny.
You want something funny, or do you want something that when you look at it, you're like, yeah. I mean, you always put...
If I look at that, I'd be going, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a bad motherfucker.
Sometimes. When I'm really, really angry at somebody who's cut me off driving, then I'm a real bad. Well, not really all the time, sort of.
What do you Jesus Christ.
I'm just saying it really isn't me. It makes no
Right.
sense at all to have it. So that's why I think it's funny. It's ironic.
Oh,
Ironic,
dude, if
ironical?
Ironical?
Yeah.
If it's something that you look at and it puts a smile on your face for whatever fucking reason, that's cool. I mean, I have
Exactly.
a message on my phone that every time I open up my phone and it comes on, it's a little reminder that says, don't get so wrapped up in making a perfect child and understand that they're already perfect.
Oh,
Something
nice
like
saying.
that. And so, I mean, I get so wrapped up with, I don't want my kids to be douches. I don't want them to be crazy. I don't want them to be impolite. I want them to learn and have manners. I want them to speak well, use their words, care about other people's feelings. And because I get so caught up in correcting them
Right.
that I don't realize, I don't step back and go, oh God, I just love you, dude. I just love you.
And even in letting them make mistakes and letting them screw up and learn and become people with the support.
Yeah.
It's a big deal. I read something the other day that was along the exact same lines. It was kind of like, the greatest gift my parent ever gave me was loving and accepting me. That was it. I mean, they didn't instill anything in particular. They just told me that I was a good person, that I was going to be okay, and that I was going to be okay in this world. And
Right.
that left me a footing of a pretty awesome start. You know what I mean? That was a big thing for me with Junior. It was like, I remember thinking as a young parent, because I was
how old
22.
were you?
I was 22 and I had him. I got married at 21. I had him at 22.
Right. For a lot of people, that's like,
Fucking crazy.
that's not
Oh,
young.
even for
some
his,
people are 16 and having kids.
well, even for his mother and I, we would both agree that was
way young.
way young and
Right.
way
Because
nuts.
Junior now is 20.
Yeah, so he's 2 years away from the age I was when I had him, and he's 1 year away from the age I was when I
And
married
he was
his
just
mom.
home on break.
On break, yeah. So we had some
From the Air Force.
some great talks, but I always thought that as a kid, I was just kind of going, okay, you know what? I just want him to grow up to be a good person. I don't give a fuck what he does with his life. Just be a good person. Be genuine. Be yourself. Feel comfortable with who you are, and let the world accept it for who you are. And I feel proud of the fact that I think he is like that. I'm sure he has his normal insecurities like everybody else does, but people see him as being a pretty down to earth guy, and that makes me feel good.
Maybe you can help me on who said this. But that common question when you ask kids, what do you want to be when you grow up? And whoever was saying this, it got my attention because, a lot of times the parents are like, so do you want to be a firefighter? Do you want to be a
Right.
doctor? Do you want to be an architect? What do you want to be when you grow up? And so this guy is saying this goes, I want to be happy. That's a pretty serious goal. I mean, that you might just, oh, Jesus Christ, tree hugger. Why are you getting all emotional? But think about it. How many people work at jobs where they're really happy? Where they're
Or how
doing
about
what they
just-
want to do?
Or how about just happy people? Think of somebody, even if they have just a
Yeah.
normal
I'll tell you what,
9 to
there's-
5, and
there's-
that's their mundane jobs, what they do every day. It brings in a paycheck,
Right.
But they can pay off their bills and they can do the thing. But they, as people, are happy people,
Yeah.
and that's the difference. I mean, who gives a shit if you have a happy job or not?
Well, there's some people that make a lot of money and they do what they say they want to do, and they're miserable fucks.
Yeah, exactly.
They're just Debbie Downers. They always look at the world as a glass half empty type of point of view.
Yeah.
It drives me fucking crazy, which maybe it drives me crazy because I'm a lot like that.
You feel like you are?
Sometimes I feel like I'm a Debbie Downer. It's so easy. I don't know if it's human nature or if it's just me. It's so easy to complain about something. It's so easy to look at a topic and go, oh my God, that is fucked up. Let's talk about how fucked up this is. Instead of saying, okay, here's an issue with the government or taxes or whatever, or the politicians, and just briefly saying, here's an issue. And then let's spend the next 45 minutes talking about solutions.
Right.
Here's a good solution, but we don't do that. For the most part, we don't do that. For the most part, we just keep reiterating the shit. We just have this shit Ferris wheel.
Yeah. I think that one person that I've bumped into recently, or most recently, who always seemed to have like this optimistic point of view on things is Eric Kleinek. I called him, not for sauce hockey gear.
Sauce hockey, Eric Kleinek.
But I just talked to him about just some business things as we're ramping up here, and his business is thriving. So I just want to touch on some things with him.
You just wanted to touch him?
I'd hug him. He's family.
He's family.
But I just wanted to ask him some questions. In every comment I made, and I wasn't particularly being cynical or saying something bad. I was just kind of like commenting on certain things. And every time I said something negative, he said something positive. I started just recognizing the back and forth between things. And he may not even realize it, but I want to say he's like genuinely one of the nicest people I've ever met, ever. He's just so nice all the time. And even in his comments are nice and kind. Because I was like talking about taxes and being incorporated and all this different stuff, and I was like a pain in the ass. And I'm just kind of he's just like, well, this is some of the things you have to do, and you just take care of it this way, and make sure you're honest and straightforward. And I mean, everything was turned around to this calm, nice perspective, and I was like, and it's pretty cool to find people that you just bump into on a regular. I mean, I know Eric, but as a business person, or we've interviewed him on the podcast. He's still just the same way, always turning things around, being positive, And if you look on Sauce Hockey's website, he's doing almost nothing but charitable work now. He's hooked up with the Wayne Gretzky hockey school to give hockey lessons to kids. I mean, and Sauce Hockey, they invited Sauce Hockey to team up with them to do that. I mean, I think that's you put out into the world the kind of positive things that not to get something back, just to do something. Are you going to talk about
The Secret?
No, I'm not going to. No, I'm not going to do this. I'm not talking about The Secret.
If you put out positive, you'll.
No, he is doing things that are positive, and he's getting positive things in return.
I'm sorry.
So I'm not talking about The Secret.
I was
talking
being
about
a little douchey.
He's being a good person with honest intentions, and he's getting positive returns because of that. It's plain and simple.
I did bring that up just to be a little douchey, but that's the basic premise of The Secret. You think about the positive stuff, and like attracts like type of a mentality. I mean, I think that's the basis behind The Secret.
Right.
Is that. So, I can't wait to get my Chuck Kavanaugh watch. The Cherry Building, downtown Cedar Rapids, by the New Bow Market. If you haven't been there, go there. Just walk around, and we did it on a weekend. We did it on a Friday. Mm-hmm. We did it Friday, yesterday. And just stop in. Just stop into different places, and
there's 3 floors. Just walk around and see what they have.
Really, really neat. Really neat,
and reasonable rent too. No wonder when they had an opening, they took advantage of it. It makes me just say, we gotta find some funding. Boom, studio baby.
Yeah, who knows? Maybe one of our podcasts, maybe one of our YouTube videos will have as many downloads as the one where the guy fights off the great white shark.
And how many views did that have?
If you haven't seen this, you guys.
But if you see the debunking, it's pretty clear debunk.
Here you go, Debbie.
I'm not being Debbie Downer. I'm just saying that when he shows this one thing in the video, you're like, oh, all right.
All right. If you're on YouTube and you type in GoPro man fights off great white shark in Sydney Harbor. Oh, no, that's wrong. That's the debunker. I think that's the debunking video. But just put man fights off great white shark. And no, that's right. That's it. If it were real, let's just suspend belief for a moment. The power that these home computers have nowadays, and Premiere Pro, things like Premiere Pro, the movie making software, people are making amazing videos. So if this video is a fake, the guy who made it did a great job of cutting and splicing and using color correction and making it look like he was just feet away from a great white shark. So in this video, if you haven't seen it, a guy goes around the barriers and jumps off a cliff into the bay.
Sydney Harbor Bay.
Mm-hmm. Or is it Sydney Harbor? Just the Sydney Harbor?
It's Sydney Harbor.
Sydney Harbor. I really want to say bay.
I'm sure there's a bay somewhere in there. Hey, did you know that the most viewed video, you know what the most viewed video is?
Of all time?
Of all time on YouTube.
No, what?
Gangnam Style, that horrible, horrible fucking song.
Is it really?
Do you know how many? Guess on how many views. Just guess.
Over 1 billion?
2,015,000,000 views. 2 with a B.
2 with a B.
2 billion. And I don't maybe it's, I mean, is it old man cynicalness where I'm just going, I don't get it. I just don't get it. Gangnam Style. I mean, hey, sexy lady. I don't know if it's just a trendy thing, or I just wasn't really caught off guard because
I've never watched it. To be
I
honest,
try to think of like the Macarena and things like I kind of encapsulate those songs kind of the same.
Yeah, sure.
You know, or they're kind of like, oh, it's just kind of a fun dance song. You know, oh, hey, it's like riding a horse, which everybody's done when they're doing the white man dance in some bar when they're drunk off their ass. So I'm like, why is that such a big deal? You know, but it's very. I mean, 2 billion. You can't bat an eye at 2 billion. You know, what I mean? That's a lot of hits.
Really amazing.
Yeah.
So I looked at. We wanted to kind of talk a little bit about. So that's where we are. That's kind of our timestamp. That's our current events. Is that kind of our current events?
I guess, yeah. Oh, we went to Brewhemia, a new coffee shop in Newbell Market as well. So, hey, go check that out too because it was fantastic. Great beers on tap.
And
great food.
We haven't talked to the owner yet of Brewhemia, but what we're really hoping to do is do a live podcast from Brewhemia because there's a spot in the back that looks like it would be perfect. Perfect to set up.
There's a table
lights,
just like
some
this.
Cameras. It's very nice. And we're hoping to get set up to do that. And
well, we love it because the owner of that is also the owner of Ecolips. And from what we've been told, he's a very neat guy.
Savvy businessman. But also very cool.
Very cool,
neat.
very nice guy. So we're hoping to get a hold of him at some point.
I really want to talk to him about being a vegan and being as active as he is and treating what I heard. Maybe I can clear up some rumors about him. Hearing about him being a steward of the earth and trying to teach his kids, to leave an area better than what you found it. And I mean, that's kind of the sense of what I got from this rumor that I heard about him. So it would be neat to talk to him. Oh,
yeah, for sure.
So let me just I want to tell everybody how excited I am.
Yeah, I'm caught off guard. Go ahead.
This is the fun. This is just the fun, cool fucking thing about doing this podcast. And I recommend everybody do something. If you're bored with your life, if you're like, oh, fuck, because this is the way I was. I'm going to describe to you how I was in my life. And if you were like this, maybe this will help you. But I was like, oh, fuck. I had 3 beautiful kids, and I have an awesome, beautiful wife who we get along great, and we've fought maybe twice in 13 years or 12 years of marriage. Now I've set the stage. All right, I have a full-time job. It pays well.
How mundane your life is,
and I got to the point to where I was really depressed. I would wake up in the morning and go, ugh, fuck, I got to go to the same job. I'm going to go do the same thing. I'm going to get done with that job, and I'm going to not work out, and I'm going to eat crap again, and then I'm going to go to sleep right away, and then I'm going to wake up and I'm going to do the whole fucking thing again. And I could just feel myself tanking. I could just feel my body's energy dwindling away, and I just was not. I mean, I had told you at one point years ago, once my kids are in school full time, once my kids get old enough and they're that September when they're in school full time, if I don't start doing something with my life,
it's going to be trouble.
Yeah. I don't know what's the purpose, what's the purpose of being here? If I'm just going to do this mundane bullshit day after day.
Well, some people would say, having a family and a wife and kids is what your purpose is.
Right.
Yeah.
But my mentality was, today when at that time in my life, that day was no different to me than 5 years previous.
Right. Yeah.
It was just this, oh my God, I'm going to wake up and I'm going to be 89 years old. My whole life is going to have passed me by and I'll have done this.
Right.
for my whole life, and it was a midlife. I think it was a midlife
Well,
crisis.
but I think that the idea of aspiring to something better is always a good thing to focus on and to have as a goal. Wait, this can't be it. Because, I mean, some people would sit back and go, you know what? I raised a family. I have a wonderful marriage and a healthy family life.
Yeah.
And my kids are all fucking awesome and they're off doing their own thing. What else can you ask for?
Yeah, some people would be
but
like
you're
that.
aspiring to something, and that would be great. I mean, some people would be very happy.
Some people are very happy
So,
with
but
that.
you're
and I'm not
aspiring to something more.
I'm not downing on people that are happy doing that.
And I didn't think you were.
But for me, I was just thinking, I always, when you're a kid, you always have this idea of what life is going to be like when you get older. It's going to be so much better. I'm going to be this when I grow up. I'm going to be doing these things. And you just have this really beautiful, idealistic view of the world. And then you get to a certain age and you're like, oh shit, this is it.
Right.
It's not beautiful and colorful.
Well,
it's
but
this.
you and I talked about this yesterday. Partially, it is what you make it.
Well,
what I mean?
That's what I'm getting to.
Okay,
I'm
sorry.
getting to this.
Go ahead.
I'm getting to that because before we started doing the podcast, I was really feeling down, right? And there might be a lot of people out there, a lot of people like you that are watching this, that are listening to this podcast, and you're like trying to find that lightning bolt to ride. You're trying to find that thrill of, when you wake up in the morning, you have a big smile on your face and you're like, oh yeah, I can't wait to do today. I can't wait to see what today brings. And that's
you
what
better generate your lightning bolt. That's what I gotta say. You better generate.
Yeah, you got to figure out what would be fun. And I mean, I wouldn't have thought that you and I would be doing this. A year ago, at the beginning of the summer, we kind of teased around the idea of doing a podcast. We kind of just started the idea of it. I mean, our first podcast wasn't until September 1st, what we put on the internet. But we had talked and we had done some recordings before that. But before last summer, I never would have thought about doing a podcast. And our very first podcast, we talk about Labor Day and what does Labor Day mean. And I had made the comment about there's nothing special anymore because everything is McDonald's and everything's the same. And there's a huge journey that I've had this year. And it has all been brought about by this podcast. I'm meeting really neat people that you would never run into. Maybe you see them on the street and you don't think about them. You don't think a second thought about it. And, but with this podcast, it has really revived this feeling of life is an adventure. And I don't know what tomorrow is going to bring. And it makes waking up really exciting for me. And case in point,
you generated that. I mean, you generated that. You generated your own excitement. You found the thing you wanted to do. And you're riding the lightning bolt.
Yeah, that's the point. You really have to find, and that's what everybody in the Cherry Building, I'm pretty sure, could attest to. They have a full-time job, but they love doing metal work, or they love doing glass work, or they love doing custom leather work, like Chuck Kavanaugh does, and they make it work. They take their spare time and they have to have that time for their special need. And that's what this is. So yesterday, or actually a couple days ago, I'm at work and I'm watching some YouTube videos because at my work, as long as I'm not watching porn and I'm not sleeping, I'm good. So I'm looking at some YouTube videos and I come across, I'm trying to learn Premiere Pro. I'm trying to learn Final Cut Pro.
And you're doing a great job, buddy. You are. I love it. You're kicking ass.
I'm baby stepping. I'm at the very beginning of the journey. So I typed into YouTube, what's the difference? Why would you want Premiere Pro versus Final Cut Pro? Because they do a lot of the similar things, and I'm trying to figure out why would I necessarily want to go with this rather than this. And I came across this video of this blonde-haired lady that said Final Cut Pro versus Premiere Pro. And I was like, okay, maybe she'll clarify something. So I started listening to her video and I thought, she's pretty entertaining. She's pretty interesting lady. Yeah. So I went to her YouTube page and started watching some other videos and found out that she wrote a book and that she was going to be quitting her job and going somewhere else. And I thought, She sounds like somebody I would really like to talk to. So what happens?
You say,
I say
"Hey,
to Todd,
have you seen this lady's video yet?" And so I hop on. I watch them as well. She talked about books and things in really general terms on her
Right,
YouTube
correct, yeah.
videos. And so I was kind of like, oh, okay. So I just found her on Facebook and hit her up with a message and said, "Hey, we saw, my buddy and I do a podcast. We saw your videos on YouTube. Thought you looked like you're a fun, interesting person to talk to. Would you want to come on and just kind of have a chat?" Literally, because I didn't know what her job was. I mean, I knew she wrote a book, but I didn't know what it was about.
Right.
And so I just thought, and lots of people have written books. And so I said, well,
And
let's just have you on.
yeah,
This
and
should
a
be
lot
a
of
fun
people
conversation.
a lot of people aren't comfortable in front of a camera. A lot of people aren't comfortable talking on a microphone. A lot of people aren't comfortable knowing that millions of people could possibly be watching them.
They're being recorded.
But
Sure.
she looked very comfortable.
Yeah, she did.
When she was talking to her.
Totally chill.
Totally chilled.
Yeah. So within, 10 minutes, she hit me back and said, "Hey, I've written a book. I do this. I do that. I do all these things." And we had no clue of who she was and what she did.
I had
And so
no
she's
idea.
part of the Michigan Paranormal Research Program. And she does.
Did
she
you
does,
hear that? The Michigan Paranormal Research Association.
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 So we're hoping that she said she would be interested in being on. So if that happens, wonderful. If not, that's okay. It just shows you the opportunities that we have found ourselves bumping into, that we stop sometimes and look at each other and go, what the fuck is
Put
going
yourself
on?
out there a little bit. Just put yourself out there a little bit. And, Matt Westbury told us, if you don't ask, the answer is always no.
Right.
So that means if you really want anal sex with your wife,
Oh
just
my
ask.
God, you had to go just like that.
No, okay, well, you never know. She might be adventurous. She might want to make a
Yeah.
movie. But if you don't ask, it's always no.
Yeah, exactly.
And sometimes when you ask, it's no. So
Yeah.
be prepared for that.
Well, then I think one of the fun things that kind of generated our thinking around Samantha Harris was, who was the lady who did the videos, was she moved to the Upper Peninsula somewhere, and our first thought was like, maybe it's our first road trip.
Yeah.
We've been talking about doing road trips and visiting people and interviewing people where they're at, where they're comfortable.
Correct.
Maybe we can pull this off.
Well, that and I'm really insecure about Skype. I'm really insecure about Skype and Google Hangouts, and I don't, because I haven't done it enough. I'm sure if I started just screwing around with it and experimenting, I'd feel much more comfortable to put that type of show together using Skype or using Google Hangouts.
Right.
But a conversation is just never the same over the phone that it could be in person, because you are reading somebody else's body language. You're able to share a drink with them.
Think of Denise. I mean, Denise Stapley and Tammy Jason in here. They're just so relaxed and chilled. We all just kind of goofed off the entire time. It was just a blast.
Yeah, and I
see this Samantha Harris being very similar. Just kind of like having a good time and totally being chill about everything. But we're going to be, if we get the chance to, we're going to talk about fucking ghosts.
and demonology.
And hauntings. I mean, how fucking awesome would that be?
Well, we're saying
I hope we're not
this-
shooting ourselves in the foot.
Yeah, we're
because
saying this right now because
We're
we might have.
prepping.
We're prepping.
I might have bothered her so badly that she's just like, oh,
No.
these guys are crazy. I can't talk to them.
Did you? You know what you should do? You should send her
Flowers? Should I send her flowers? Flowers and chocolates.
Flowers and chocolates
And really scare the shit out of her.
in a tombstone candy box.
That would be fantastic. Hey, just so you knew, we were thinking of you, and we know
Thinking
what
of
do.
you. Yeah, the Primal Scream. No, when we're done with this podcast, we air it. You send her the link to this podcast where we're talking about her, and she can see it and see us and kind of see what it's like, and then she can say, "Go fuck yourself," or she can say, "No, I like you guys are fun. Let's have a conversation. Bring up your fucking GoPros."
Unless you talk like that, then she probably doesn't want to. Whoa, whoa, whoa.
No. All right.
No, I don't
all
wanna
right. I'll
talk
stop.
to you.
Hey, this is Happy Matt.
You're always happy.
You know what would really make me happy? You brought this up the other day, and if Iowa could just stop being douches and legalize marijuana,
I don't want the lube. I should have known you were bringing that up.
Talk about the lube. Tell all the listeners
All
about
right.
the lube.
So there's now this. You know why they call it feminine lube? I don't know, because it's probably for both of you, I would assume.
Possibly.
But it's a lubricant that's all natural that has THC in it, and supposedly because of the mucous membranes in a woman's vagina, it's like
boom,
you get high very quickly. And so it's a very natural lubricant, probably less natural than your own, but you get high, women get high off of it. And I was just like, holy shit.
We would have to ask Denise about this. In fact, let's send Denise a link to this podcast, because when I think of drugs in the system and sex, I've heard you're not supposed to take, because I've never done DMT, but I've heard that you should not take DMT and then have sex.
I've heard MDMA is the one.
Oh, I'm sorry, MDMA.
MDMA is the one you should.
Saying? DMT.
DMT, which is like the down south ayahuasca. It's like ayahuasca. You smoke it.
Oh, okay.
And it's 15 minutes of a high instead of ayahuasca.
I apologize. So
DMT.
DMT. MDMA. What's MDMA?
MDMA. Yeah, that's the pure form of ecstasy.
Okay, so we're talking don't take ecstasy and then have sex, because what I've heard is sex is so great on MDMA.
Well, it's because MDMA, it's like if you're on MDMA, if you're on MDMA and I'm like touching your shoulder or rubbing your shoulder.
You're not touching my shoulder and rubbing my shoulder.
No, I'm just...
Why don't you talk about your lady? How about you say your lady's taking MDMA? Why are you touching me?
And if you're touching you touch their arm, it just feels wonderful. Like it's this overwhelming feeling. And so I've heard of people who had kind of like therapy, because sex is so much less than it is when you're not on MDMA. So you have to be very careful when you're doing that. I've also heard that you can't come when you're on MDMA, that it keeps guys from ejaculation. I've heard a couple of different comments, which to me sounds perfect. Why would you can't have an orgasm, but it feels fantastic. Sounds great.
Yeah, but it doesn't kill the boner.
Supposedly not.
Well, the point I'm trying to make to all this...
What podcast will this be?
This will be number 40. So the reason I brought this up is because if you're drinking a lot of alcohol, some people feel like their inhibitions are gone when they drink alcohol and have sex. But the overwhelming comments that Todd and I had from our 50 Shades of Reality survey was women hate drunk sex. They hate drunk sex. And so I was wondering if this lubrication that gets women high, if that affects their orgasm, or if it gives them a better orgasm, or if it kills the guy's boner. I don't know. I mean, if you're using lube and then you have sex, wouldn't the guy have some type of absorption? Are you writing a fucking novel over there or what?
I'm messaging Denise.
Oh, okay.
So, no, I said the same thing to your wife. I said, well, the head of a man's penis also, she says, but no, it's a different, I mean, yes, they're all very soft skins, but women secrete things out of their skin. Men don't from the head of their penis. I mean, your head of your penis isn't
right.
So it can't absorb anything. Woman's vagina, on the other hand, has much bigger pores, secretes a lubricant, natural lubricant. So in turn, that has more absorption, and that's why it has the effect it does. Because I mean, that'd be a bad thing. Because I could imagine THC lubricant for a guy. If we could absorb things through the head of our penis,
we'd be masturbating like crazy. I mean,
sit there all day, just rubbing lube on the top. Oh yeah.
Are you putting chalk on a cue stick or what?
If only it was that big, everybody'd be so much happier.
No, dude, you can't have ginormican dick.
Ginormican, according to some people, size queens think the bigger the cock, the better it is.
Size queens, those silly bitches.
I heard that Janet Jackson's a size queen.
Are we going to start slandering people now?
No, I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I think they said that's why she was so excited to date like Matthew McConaughey, because supposedly he has a very big penis.
Oh, that's all
why
I need.
I was
One
thinking.
more thing that Matthew McConaughey is amazing at.
I've always heard that. The funniest thing is John Hamm, the actor from Bad Men, supposedly, again, enormous penis. I hear that. I see it on the internet all the time. People talking about men who whatever.
I don't know what you're looking at, but
Huffington-
I never
Huffington Post,
I never
the
come
Daily
across.
Beast. I mean, all those websites have like
I never
like
come
entertainment
across
section.
articles about, hey, have you heard of
Entertainment
so and so's
sections.
dick? It's huge.
I see them on there. Okay, I don't click and read the article. I just
I
see
think
it.
I think
And it's
maybe
like,
some
oh,
of your Google searches are bringing up some weird articles. Maybe
weird issues.
I don't
weird
want to look at
personal
your Google
issues.
searches.
Okay,
The,
fine.
the NSA is looking
Let's
at them
move
all.
on.
I,
Jeez Louise. Just trying to bring up a topic. And now I'm ashamed into silence.
well, I don't know why you're talking about men's dicks. Anyway, let's talk about. You wanted to bring up a little bit. You know what we're going to start doing on this on the podcast is I want to have a TED Talk segment. Let's listen to Todd drink beer.
You mean like talk about our favorite TED Talks?
Well, we could just have like from this section of the podcast to this section of the podcast. Let's talk about innovative, inspiring TED Talks. Like this is the latest and greatest, most popular TED Talk right now. Like we talked about the YouTube video that was really popular. If you've never gone to TED Talk, .com, you go to TED.com, and what does TED stand for exactly? Technology, education, is it development?
It might be. I'm not sure.
And it originally was created so that the best and brightest people coming up with the latest technologies had a platform to give a presentation to possible investors to get things out of the laboratory and onto
get funding for things
into the market.
I remember watching. I don't know if it was like a behind the scenes TED Talk. This is 5 or 6 years. No, this is probably 10 years ago, of a kid who had a screen, a big plasma LED screen on a tabletop with like cardboard around the edges, and he was the first one that developed the idea of having pictures, and you could move the pictures around on the screen, and you could pull them up and swipe and make them big and shrink them down and pull up another picture.
And they wouldn't lose any of the
resolution.
sharpness.
No resolution went away. And then, of course, he was one of the story goes that he was like he talked to somebody last minute, and they fit him in to do his presentation, and then he walks out the door, and he has 10 multi-billion-dollar companies saying, "Can we talk to you?" Like,
how amazing!
Just
is
like that. And that's the coolest story I ever heard. I'm sure there's better ones than that. But the kid who thought about
cleaning up the oceans
with the plastic. The kid who talked about having everybody having their own personal nuclear power plant in the ground that generated electricity. And, I mean, all those things.
That same kid gave a TED Talk when he was 18.
Yeah.
About reinventing nuclear power plants, a safer nuclear power plant where we could use the waste fuel of nuclear power plants in the new design, his hypothesized new design of nuclear power plants. But that same kid, when he was 14, built a nuclear power plant in his garage.
I think he's on 60 Minutes. I mean,
he's
amazing. And I mean, to the point where a professor at a big college, I can't remember which one it was, said, "Hey, come do your stuff with us. Free of charge. Just come on in and
come here.
Can I have your brain? Come on in here,
smart fella."
Exactly. I think.
That's a resource that we are in limited supply of.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think you were going to probably get to. He talked about how he designed a nuclear power plant that can use the spent fuel rods of power plants we currently have, and we wouldn't have any nuclear waste.
You could stop creating nuclear power rods, and you could take all the stuff that what's the when you think of where we could store spent fuel rods.
Yuma, Nevada is where they were burying all that stuff underground.
All that stuff that we're burying. This kid came up with this idea of a different type of way to utilize that radiation to where you completely use up all of it. You expend all the radiation, so it's completely inert.
Right.
And he was saying in that TED Talk, and I'll put a link to it on in the comments below. He was saying that we have enough spent fuel rods currently for the next 10,000 years of the world's energy needs.
But see, the hard part is
Oh
you
my
have,
fucking god!
but you have corporations who mine uranium, who mine, plutonium. They're not going to stop making money.
At some point, we have to, and I'm not saying we will, but at some point, if we want to be better than what we are right now, when you look at the government and you're not happy, when you're looking at the injustices of the world, when you're looking at the discrepancy between the upper class, the upper 1%, and us, the middle class and the lower class, if you're not happy with those things, you have to look at these new technologies and you have to say to yourself, we must go in a different direction. We must change as a human race. And if you see a movie or you read a book and you're like, fuck, that's where I would love us to be someday as a race, as a planet. Instead of all these countries fucking going to war, we might talk about the McCain speech and Iraq and all that stuff that's going on right now. We might talk about it later. I don't know. I don't really want to be a downer today.
Let's not be a downer today.
But if you hope for a better world than what we're living in right now, we have to adapt to these new technologies, and we have to stop saying that greed is the most important thing. We have to stop saying that money is the most important thing. And we have to change our economics. We have to change the way we look at economics. We have to change the way we cannot say anymore. I can't say, we shouldn't say anymore, that economics is the end all be all number one thing to run your life. We can't. Because if we did, that means that me going to work every day and making every single dollar that I could is the most important thing. Not my happiness, not the welfare of the environment, not the welfare of my children or the growth of their brains or their ingenuity. None of that stuff is important. None of it. Being a good person, not important. Money's important.
Right. I think there has to be a happy balance.
I think the one percenters could figure out a way to make money off of the new way that we should do business. I'm sure that those smart people, there's over 1,600 billionaires. My buddy on the other day when I was at work looked up Forbes on Forbes.com and looked up how many billionaires there are in the world. 1,600 billionaires with a B,
including like Saudi Arabian princes and things.
Yes,
like
everybody.
That, right?
It's everybody.
Yeah.
Bill Gates, he's the richest motherfucker in the world.
Oh, in the whole world.
In the whole world.
More than oil companies?
Whole world.
Oh, that's kind of crazy. I didn't know that.
Whole world.
Oh, that's awesome. Good for
I'm
him.
pretty sure.
Well, my favorite.
Sorry if I'm wrong. I apologize.
My favorite TED Talk,
yeah,
so far has been Esther Perel about marriage and relationships and keeping desire.
Is she French?
She has an accent. That's not an answer.
And that's the American school system for you. She has an accent. We're so stupid.
Ooh, I'm going to pull up her Wikipedia. Wikipedia page.
Wicca.
And see what she is. She is recognized as one of the world's most premier. Oh, and she's a pretty lady, too. What are you asking about her again? You said
where she's from. She sounded like she had a French accent.
French? I don't know if she's French.
Well, she might not be.
Her clients and platforms include companies such as Nike, Johnson & Johnson, Mopar, the Open Society Institute, Tony Robbins Productions, Summit Series, Founders Forum, Pop Tech, Young Presidents Organizations, Entrepreneur Organizations, and the Braun Freeman Foundation. Jesus Christ. That's amazing.
That's a lady that stays busy.
Yeah, I would say you're probably right about that.
So can you sum up her TED Talk? Her TED Talk, by the way, if you want to look up Esther Perel, Esther, and maybe I'll remember to put a link below.
You'll put a link below.
The TED Talk is The Secret to Desire in a Long-Term Relationship.
Yeah, she's from. It says she's in New York, but that's not right. She can't be from New York.
She can't be.
Well, I
'cause
mean,
that's such
no,
a
she
crazy accent.
she has an accent, so she's got to be from somewhere else.
All right, so sum up the talk. You watch the talk. She talks about cheating and things like that.
Well,
and why
she talks about everything that goes on in a marriage, about how you have to keep. I mean, we've heard about things being fresh, trying to keep things fresh in a marriage.
Right.
But she says you have to literally work. You have to keep up. Can you still desire somebody who you already have? How can you keep up that desire, that want in that other person? And you and I have talked about that. That's some things that sometimes lack in our relationships. Where like, I want to be wanted. That turns me on. I mean, that's
sure.
I think it's finding the gist of what it was. Because I don't think I watched the entire thing, and I saw most parts of it. But it was having to do with you making sure that you keep it almost as fresh as if you're just starting a date. You go on dates. You find special times and places to do things. You're intimate together. You have sex in crazy places, or you go somewhere for a holiday, somewhere for a weekend.
Yeah.
You do things that you did when you were dating, when it was fresh and exciting and new. You have to generate that newness or that redevelopment of your relationship. So I thought it was fantastic.
And she doesn't just talk about sex. I mean, there's a lot of different nuances to a relationship.
And her things about cheating were addressing some of those issues. Why people cheat when they have what everybody else sees is this wonder. You're happy,
right?
Your marriage is healthy,
right? And
you still cheat. What is going on? What's propagating that kind of behavior?
I can speak from personal experience from my first relationship, my first marriage, that I can say I easily fucked up. I take full responsibility. But meeting somebody when you're married and things kind of seem stale and you feel like you're being not necessarily taken advantage of. What is it? When you're being kind of neglected, taken for granted.
Okay.
You feel like you're being taken for granted, and that there's no spice, there's no interest in your lover's eyes. You come home from work and it's like, see you later. There's no real want or need.
Right.
There's no spark. So when I remember specifically the exact moment that this young 20-something super hot girl started paying me more attention than I expected. And it was just this, it was an adrenaline rush. I mean, I just remember it was almost like a caffeine high. I didn't take anything. It was just that moment that I knew.
Pure oxygen.
That moment that I knew she was into me. And every time she saw me, little butterflies in her stomach,
Right.
As soon as I recognized that, it was almost like a drug. It was a drug. So if you're not getting that in your relationship, and then it's so easy to cheat. It's so easy to feel and get addicted to that feeling of somebody. If you're not feeling loved, if you're not feeling like the person that you should love or that loves you gives a shit. If you're not feeling that excitement when they see you, if you can look at your spouse and when you look at them and when they look at you, it's just kind of
right.
There's nothing there besides, so what are we gonna have for dinner tonight? Oh, right. Are we gonna watch Survivor? Oh, okay. Good night. If there's nothing more than that, when you look at each other, it's so easy to cheat when anybody looks at you and desires you. Because I remember looking at that girl and going, you have nothing, there's nothing about you besides physical attraction that is pulling me in at all. You have the physical attraction and you wanting me. Like you are super interested in me. That was it.
Right.
There was nothing like, I didn't look at her and go, hey, you're going places, lady. Right. You got a great career. I'm super into you.
Right.
You got a great personality. No. You're into me and you're focused on me and you want me.
Well, I think that's why Denise said you have to plan things out. You should talk about, my husband knowing my love language. When I come home and he's vacuuming, it turns me on, or it gets me, he's doing something for me, and I appreciate that. And that in turn makes me attracted to him. Working, making date nights, making dates to have sex. If you're so busy that you can't have casual sexual relations with your spouse, you have to, then plan it. You have to work at it.
Right.
And all of us think, oh, God, how unromantic, how shitty, blah, blah, blah. But guess what? If that's what it takes to make sure you stay a strong, healthy couple, then by all means, why would you take any chances? And this whole idea to me of cheating being an easy thing to do, I think is, I know somebody who's
cheating like a drug.
I know somebody who's cheated, or people who have cheated. And I'm like, I can imagine putting forth that much effort. You know what I mean? It just looks like you really have to work. And then the idea of, conspiring and doing things shady and behind closed doors and hoping nobody finds out. I can't even boggles my mind to think about that. To cheat on somebody like that.
And I could never take it to that level now. I have kids. When you keep in mind what you have, and how you love seeing your kids every night. You love being able to tuck them in, the opportunity to tuck them in. You might say no. No, guys, just go to bed. Come on, Jesus, fuck. Go to bed. You might not always tuck them in or want to tuck them in, but the opportunity to be able to see your children every single night is and sleep in the same bed as your spouse is priceless.
Right.
So my life is completely different than it was when I was young and stupid.
Thank God.
But I think that cheating can be like a drug. I know a handful of people. I have a handful of friends that have cheated or are in the middle of a cheating process, right? And it almost becomes this
game?
Exciting game.
Huh.
Yeah. It almost becomes this game, and
I could never get past the wife and kids thing. You know what I mean? I could never think that things were so bad at home that I couldn't address, talk about, or come to a conclusion before I even had to cheat. You know what I mean? And so I'm trying to think of it being an addictive game. I'm trying to wrap my head around that idea. And it's really hard to grasp.
Really?
Yeah. It's really difficult to grasp.
And maybe it is for somebody who's
a pussy. Are you going to say I'm a pussy? Is that what you're going to say?
No. To cheat is not a great thing. And to be loyal to your family is not being a pussy.
Right.
But I guess it's easier for me to see since I've done it. And when I cheated, ladies and gentlemen, it's not like I went crazy. It's not like I actually had intercourse. I just paid too much attention to a woman who wasn't my wife. That's it. There wasn't anything physical about the relationship. There was just, I remember coming home and telling my wife, because I'm a terrible liar and I cannot keep secrets to save my life. And I had worked all night long, and I had to take a nap. I had to lay down and take a nap before I got up and went to college full time, morning classes or afternoon classes. And she said, "Are you okay? Is everything okay?" And I'm like, "I'm really fucked up right now. I am having feelings about another woman, and I don't know why." And here's the fucking kicker. She was sweet and understanding. And I laid down to go to bed, and she laid down with me, and she said, "When you figure out what you want to do, you tell me." And that fucked me up more than anything, was that she was so calm,
so understanding.
And so understanding and so sweet about the whole thing. It would have been a completely different scenario if she would have railed on me and thrown me out of the house and called me every name in the book. I was ready for that type of reaction. I was not prepared for the understanding beyond measure.
She's a pretty unique lady.
She is a pretty unique lady, and I will give her that. But these types of questions, people fucking, they really struggle with these types of questions and these enigmas and how should I be sexually and what's normal and I feel this way. Is that not normal or is it normal? And Denise Stapley, because she's a sex therapist, that's what she deals with, and she has to listen. She didn't have. I mean, she listens to people with these concerns, and I don't know. I guess I think that you either do you think society puts so much pressure on us that we are constantly judging ourselves off of somebody else and going, I feel this way. Is it wrong? I shouldn't feel this way.
Well, I go back sometimes to thinking the media kind of portrays things a certain way, and that has a huge influence. But my parents and a lot of people's parents in the 70s got divorced. And their parents before them, who were raised in the 50s, or who grew up in the 40s, 50s, and 60s,
right? You never get divorced.
You don't get divorced.
That's it.
You stick together for a long time.
Right? You let him cheat on you. That's a norm, and he will beat you up.
In extreme situations, yes. Or like
I think that was a lot more common back in the day than.
Or like my grandparents, who had improprieties in their relationship, but said, "We have 6 children. This is the way things are. That's not acceptable. We're going to keep going forward, moving forward with. And my mom was attracted to somebody else, and boom, had an affair with them. Ended her marriage with my dad, and that's how, that's how it went. And she's even told me, she said things like, I realized that just because I was attracted to somebody, that I didn't have to pursue it. And I would assume everybody's.
If only I had the THC lube.
But I think that's
I could just get high and pleasure myself.
I think you have to. I think it becomes important to understand people, human beings in general. You are gonna walk into a room and be attracted to somebody, and that because you're attracted to somebody doesn't mean you go, "Oh, hey, I get tinglies from this person over here. I better fuck him." You know what I mean? It's understanding that you're gonna bump into people and go, "Oh God, that person's hot," or somebody's gonna walk in the room and go, "Oh, that person's really interesting. I want to know them better," and that develops into a relationship. To know that you can be attracted to somebody for whatever reason, and it doesn't mean the end of your relationship, or somehow you're odd because it's normal. You're supposed to be attracted to other people of the opposite sex or the same sex if that's your inclination. I'm just saying that you have to come to the point where you realize it's just the way things are. You're gonna
it's
be.
Human
I
nature.
watch TV and I see somebody. I'm like, oh fuck, holy cow! Heidi Klum could be on TV all day long.
Right.
I'd be a happy man. My wife would say the same thing about Brad Pitt or whoever it is. You know what I mean?
Right.
I just think it's okay to accept who
Heidi
you
Klum
are.
could take out the garbage and be like, let's watch that episode again. It's the best episode ever. Take that fucking garbage out.
Exactly. I think it's just understanding and accepting of each other. And then allowing yourselves to be flawed, to make mistakes, and accepting people for who they are. And so if a husband has an emotional relationship with somebody that's not okay, and that's discovered, and then you deal with it, then you deal with it and say, okay, what can I do? What can I do better as a husband to not have that happen again? What can I do as a wife to do something different so I don't have that happen again? You hopefully work around these issues without ending everything, because you did start out for a reason. You were attracted to each other in the beginning for a reason. And so find those answers and find those things. Like Denise said, if it means date night, it means date night. If it means you have sex every Tuesday, you start prepping Wednesday all the way to Tuesday. You know what I mean? I thought that was one of her better comments.
Yeah, foreplay doesn't begin the night of date night. Foreplay begins Monday and
goes all the way through the week. Date night is
Saturday.
Yeah. I think she said something about wearing sexy underwear because you're thinking to yourself, "Hey, Tuesday's coming up. I'm gonna put my sexy underwear on right now so I can." Yeah, that was a pretty eye-opening. Nope, not at all.
Okay,
it was a pretty eye-opening conversation. That's why I want to have her back on, because I want to delve into some of that.
I just fucking love her.
Yeah, she's awesome.
I really dig Denise Stapley. She's a wonderful person, amazing to talk to, great personality. I described her to Todd as when she invited us to the cabin, magnanimous.
Yes. I don't think that's a word, but that fits.
Magnanimous?
Yeah,
it is
sure.
a fucking word. Look it up, ladies.
It's
and
a
gentlemen.
word. I'm just saying. I'm not sure that's the word you talked to me about, but it's definitely a word that fits Denise.
But she's just so easygoing. She's so generous with her time. so sweet to everybody.
And every opportunity kind of seems to be an opportunity of
Hey, let's try this.
Whatever it is, whatever you're not judging every moment.
Yeah,
You're
I'm going to
just
remind
living
everybody
your
who
life,
listens.
you know?
We did make a commitment to. I'm cringing as I say.
Why?
It.
Why even say it out loud?
Because if I say it
I
out
don't
loud,
want to do it. So don't say it out loud.
but if I say it out loud, we have to do it,
fuck.
and we have to force ourselves sometimes to go out of our comfort zone and do shit that makes us uncomfortable, which is go ruck. Go Ruck in September, and Denise, I apologize. I still need to register for the Go Ruck Light Challenge in Cedar Rapids.
I sure hope that by the time I get on, it's not full. That's what I hope. I'm gonna try.
Todd, there was a wink in Todd's eye. There was a wink. He gave a wink. He doesn't want to do it.
Gosh darn it! I missed the deadline.
But you know what? Here's a lady. Here's Denise. If you all didn't watch Survivor, which shame on you, you should watch Survivor. It's a great show. But if you didn't watch Survivor and you didn't see her win that show, and how she held herself and conducted herself, if you didn't watch the Tough Mudder that Todd and I did with Denise's interview, shame on you even more. But she is just this tiny little firecracker of a woman, and she has this spark of life about her. And when she said to us, "Hey, I'm going to do the Tough Mudder. You guys want to? You guys can be in our group. You want to do it?" I felt compelled to be like, "Yes, whatever you want, Denise.
We're just your lemmings, Denise. We'll follow you off the cliff. It's okay."
Because she has that personality, because she has that aura about her that I just want to be around.
Well,
I just want to be around. She just seems like
her
one of those
view
really
on life
cool
is pretty
people.
awesome. Yeah, I agree. All right, can we
Like a
leave?
magnet.
Can we fucking leave Denise alone for a little bit?
Yeah.
Jeez
So we
Louise.
talked about.
Even Denise is tired of hearing about Denise.
Denise is like, "Oh no, Jesus."
Yeah. Can they stop talking about me? I am fabulous, but can they please stop talking about me?
And when she showed up that night to do the podcast, which I wish we had videotaped the first time she did the podcast with us, because that is one of our best podcasts. So check that one out. I think that's like podcast 30 something.
Yeah, 35, something like that.
Anyway, God damn. She shows up. She's got like a muscle shirt on, and she's got this
Beanie
on her head, and I was I don't know.
I asked her if she wanted me to roast her some kale or something.
Yeah. She's just a cool chick. She's a cool chick.
Yeah, I agree.
But did we fully encompass what we're hoping to do in Michigan?
You mean with Samantha Harris?
Samantha Harris.
God, we have to be careful. We're not going to shoot ourselves in the foot. No, we did not fully encompass everything with her. No.
Okay, because what we started talking about, and I'm making a huge. I'm trying to come back to what we started talking about.
So Denise was podcast 28.
28.
Yeah.
Wonderful. So go back to the original podcast number 28, and listen to Denise Stapley.
Yeah,
and she
it was
rocks
pre-video.
your fucking world.
Pre-video.
Pre-video.
Can you hold on a second, Clay? Pee.
Yeah, go ahead. And we're back.
Sweet.
Todd had to take a little break.
Potty. Had to go potty.
Break. So anyway, we were talking about Samantha Harris, right? Is it Samantha Harris?
It's Samantha Harris.
Okay, so I wanted to bring it back full circle and say. So I looked at the videos. Todd looked at the videos. He Facebooked her, and then she got back to us and said, "Yeah, fuck it, let's do it."
Yeah.
I mean, not exactly
Within reason. No, she was saying that she'd be interested in doing it. She was kind of surprised because we hadn't. She usually gets interviews and does things because of her book that she's written, and the group that she's part of this Michigan Paranormal Research Association, and so she's used to being interviewed and doing things because of that. And I messaged her like, "Hey, you look cool on YouTube. Do you want to be on our podcast?" So it wasn't about her paranormal stuff. But again, once she said that, I was like, oh. And then I started researching more into it, and I was like, holy mackerel,
shit.
it's going to be a doozy. So I got pretty excited about it.
Basically, she's going to be another woman on our podcast that's going to be awesome.
Yeah, I can see that happening very easily.
Yeah, when we started this, I thought, I don't know if I want women on the podcast because I didn't know if I could relax enough and let myself just be Matt. But it turns out that I really, really enjoy the ladies on the podcast. It just seems a lot more light, upbeat. I don't know. I like him a lot. So anyway, this is what Todd and I are hoping to do. In the coming weeks, we are hoping to road trip it to Upper Michigan.
Our hope is that we can make that work. We want to interview or re-interview or catch up with Dr. Moen at some point this summer
Face
if we
to
can,
face.
face-to-face with him. We'd like to interview Samantha Harris if we can and do kind of a road trip that way. We've talked about going down south and doing things, maybe visit Junior in Biloxi, Mississippi,
maybe.
and do a podcast there. But, it would just be the opportunity to kind of do something different. In 5 years when we ride our motorcycles across the world, even better.
You do realize, and we talked about this in the previous podcast, that Todd wants to go around the world with motorcycles.
It's not that odd.
Here's the odd thing.
It's awesome.
It's not that odd, and it is awesome, but it's not that odd. But here's the odd thing. You don't fucking own a bike, and neither do I. Mm-hmm. That's kind of odd.
No, but we can learn how in the next 5 years. And I'm telling you, the idea of us broadcasting from the middle of Siberia or somewhere would be fucking incredible. Where are you guys right now? Hey, we're on the tundra. There's nothing to be found for at least 3,000 miles in all directions. And we're
Matt
sending
is shitting
you...
his pants because we're in the middle of fucking nowhere. And guess who didn't fill up with gas?
We're sending our podcast out to the world from the middle of nowhere because we have the chance to do so, and we took it.
You know what? Never
what
say
I mean?
never say never. And who knows where we're gonna what we're gonna be doing or who we're gonna meet and what we're gonna. I would not have imagined that we would be possibly going to the upper part of Michigan to talk to Samantha
Dude,
Harris.
we wouldn't have thought that we'd be almost a year into this podcast and it being popular. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, because at one point I said if we do 20, then I'll start investing in better equipment. Remember that?
Yeah.
Let's
We
just-
invested right away, which I think is probably a pretty smart deal. When we said we're gonna, fucking
Right.
pony up or go home, and I think that's why it's
Well,
doing
because we
okay.
decided we wanted it to sound
good.
And
Yeah.
now we're getting to the point where we want it to look good. So right now, I'll just do the plea for money right now, and we can keep talking about other things.
Go ahead.
So right now we are looking to upgrade our podcast. We're looking to get better cameras, possibly better mics, a better
Studio space,
studio
possibly.
space.
Not because we don't love the basement, but because it'd be nice to have more than one studio and to put out other people's podcasts who want a voice to be put out in the airwaves.
That's it in a nutshell. Todd just said it. Our dream it's grown from just us doing a podcast and talking about what interests us. And I know that not everybody is gonna look at our podcast and be like, "Oh fuck, I love these guys." Not everybody's gonna like that. There's gonna be some people that are extremely religious and they're gonna hate what we've said about Catholicism or religion in general. There's going to be people that are going to be much more into women and makeup. There's going to be people that are a lot more into automotives and things. So what our hope is to create a studio where anybody and everybody can come in, create a podcast of their own show that we could produce for them, and then have sponsors to back that play. So
Yeah.
that's what we're really hoping for. So if you like the podcast and you want to contribute $1, $5, $10, $100 for us to purchase new cameras, rental space for a new studio, we would really appreciate it. And I look forward to being able to take that platform and give it to college students or
I just love the idea that we have found this
outlet
where we wanted you and I to have an outlet just for ourselves. And then we wanted to have an outlet, I remember talking to you about, what if we can, because should we interview people? Because people probably get fucking tired. They listen to us talk about the same shit all the time.
I get tired of you.
Yeah, I get tired of you too, motherfucker. And so maybe we should have somebody on to interview. And that was a fruition of the podcast. And now we're like, it's just not good enough just to us talk and have an interview once in a while. We love doing our podcasts, but maybe somebody needs their own voice, period. And so to give somebody that opportunity was where it started. It's just blooming into something that I think is just awesome. I'm very, very excited with the prospect of giving somebody else a podcast, no matter who it is. Correct. I'm excited to give somebody a voice. It just sounds really neat and seems very natural progression of the podcast.
Yeah, yeah. And there could be college students who want to dip their hands or dip their toe into the waters of production or the sound people, or messing around with Premiere Pro and special effects and using a green screen. And we're going to be incorporating a green screen here at the Primal Screen podcast pretty soon, and incorporating different sponsors into that green screen. So these are all brand new waters that we're getting into, but it's very exciting. It's very new. I feel like a virgin on prom night. Is that wrong? Is that okay?
That sounds like a lot of anxiety, a lot of performance issues that I don't want to be involved in.
I'll tell you what, I'm
very excited. I'm not nervous at all. I'm not in any sense of the word. I feel like this is just an absolute way it's supposed to happen. It feels very natural. It feels very serendipitous. I just don't think, to me, it's like it's a no-brainer. This is the way it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
And so that's why I feel good about it, because I don't feel anxiety about it. I mean, we were never trying to have this be, successful. It has to do certain things. It was us just putting something out there for our kids, for us, meet new people and do fun things with people, we didn't have Nick Rosine on so that we could talk about how horrible it was that he had lost so many friends and due to PTSD. It was like, hey, let's talk to this guy who's an awesome CrossFitter and a good trainer. Let's hear about that. And it developed into something that was a little more profound than we had expected to, which is a wonderful offspring of the podcast. So this seems like a natural progression forward. That's why I'm so excited about it. And I don't have any anxiety about it at all.
Yeah, and that message, hopefully to anybody out there listening to this, if you wanted to try something new because you hoped that life would be a little bit different and you're a little bit let down and you think to yourself, fuck no, I'm too old. I don't really have the cash to do that. No, people wouldn't say yes. People might say yes.
People might say yes. You'd be surprised. Hey,
and
guess what? Not everybody. I turned around and said, oh, she's a nice lady. I'll just message her on Facebook. 15 minutes later, hey, I love to do your podcast. And you and I both look at each other and go, what the fuck? Woo! How can this keep on happening?
Right.
Dr. Dave Moen. Hey, I'll just email and see what happens. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
When it's supposed to happen, it's going to happen.
Yeah, and he was a very, very, very sweet dude, Dr. David Moen. He sent us a poem. I wasn't expecting a poem, but Dr. David Moen sent me a poem when he was done with the podcast, and then he really enjoyed talking to us. So I really hope to reconnect with him and have a sit down face-to-face. Maybe we can have a dinner and a few drinks and laugh and be silly, stupid.
It'd be great.
I haven't really had a lot of friends that are doctors. So I'm sure that he's just a guy who puts his pants on one leg at a time and wants to have a few beers and be silly and laugh and chill.
Well, hey, the emails I've got from him are along those lines. It's pictures of his dog running around the snow, the one who was barking in the background.
Yeah, average Joe.
He talked about, he and his wife, Karen, listened to the podcast and they loved it. So, I mean, that's what it's all about.
We'll have to send him a link. We'll have to send him a link to this podcast and be like, hey, we taltalked about you.
Yeah, you sexy bastard.
You sexy bastard.
Don't try to act like that picture on Facebook isn't your picture. Because it's awesome.
So anyway, Samantha Harris, I can't wait to come up. I really hope things work out so that it's not Skype. Even if it's Skype, it's going to be great because I can't wait to hear some stories about the paranormal. I've always wanted to discuss odd things with people who are subject matter experts. And that's such a fucking HR, managerial verbiage, subject matter experts. But I wanted to talk to some. I mean, we can always have our own opinions about silliness and ghost stories and what have you. But where did you find that picture? Did she send you a picture, or did you go to her Facebook page or something?
Now, if you go to Michigan Paranormal Research Association, there, if you scroll down,
is that a .com?
No, that is MichiganPRA.com is what it is.
MichiganPRA.com.
Yeah, and it's the Michigan Paranormal Research Association. And on there, she has like videos, she's done other interviews, images. And so she took a picture when she was 11 of some friends, and on a cork board behind them that had no plastic or any reflective material on it.
Get ready for this shit.
Is a ghost that's caught in the picture. So, and she's also written a book. So
it's
I mean,
an image of a woman. There's an image of a woman in the cork board.
Yeah.
And the cork board has no glass in front of it.
The best part about it is I am such a cynical prick that I'm just going, all right. It doesn't scare me. It doesn't bother me. It doesn't freak me out. I just go, okay, that's kind of cool. I mean, again, it's like Kina. I'm just like, all right.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. And I mean, my hope is that she can show me some things. We were talking the other day at the CrossFit gym about going to haunted houses. And,
oh, really?
Yeah, and we were just warming up. And I said, does anybody remember?
Typical conversation before you go to CrossFit workout.
Anybody, we were all warming up together in a big circle, stretching our shoulders out. And I said, does anybody remember that TV show Fear that it was on MTV? And it's a show.
I think so.
And so they would take people to like an old abandoned prison.
Yeah,
and they had to go in there and sleep, and the cameras on them. And there was some scary shit. But it's all in your head. I mean, it's all inside of you. It's your own anxiety. It's your own, those little voices inside your head going, this shit's real or it's not, Because, I mean, Nick was going, I do not like shit like that. I scream and yell like a little girl. I can't.
Nick Rosine was saying
that?
Yeah,
he's like, I can't do it. I just cannot do it.
We should drag him with us. We should take him by the ear or take him by the hand. I'll probably take him by the hand because he'd fuck me up. Take him by the hand and say, Nick, you're coming with us to Michigan. It'd be great. I'm just throwing this out there because I'm completely just going off the hip. I haven't talked to Samantha about this at all. I'm saying it like she's my best friend, Samantha. But it would be great if we could work something out with Samantha that she takes us to someplace fucking scary. I was saying this to Todd, like, what if we go up there, we do the podcast, and then she says, I'm going to blow your fucking minds. There's a place not 10 minutes from here. It's one of the most haunted places. Bring your cameras.
All she would need to do is she would need to just bring me. If she could show me something for real.
So I can stay in the safety?
Yeah.
I can stay somewhere safe.
I'll go.
Me and Nick Rosine.
I am not
in the fetal position.
That stuff doesn't bother me because I think what happened was I'm like your kids and my kids who all scared the shit out of each other last night. Talking about Candyman and Bloody Mary, and they all got fucking freaked out.
We had a bonfire last night.
And guess what my kids did? Separate bedrooms, boom, out cold. What did your kids do?
My kids camped out in my bedroom. They're scared shitless. Not my daughter. My daughter, balls at Clank and Spark. Boom. She went right to her own bed and said good night.
Yep.
Good night, fuckers. Went to bed.
I just don't. I think it's fun to think about things like that, and I think it's interesting. People who talk about this stuff or have these pictures, that is interesting to me.
Right.
But I don't go like, oh my God, that's so awesome. I totally believe you. I just don't do it. So I really have to have proof. It's like God. I just like,
Yeah.
show me some proof and I'm good. That's awesome. Otherwise, I'm
Wouldn't
sad.
that be
Thank
funny?
you.
Wouldn't that be funny as shit to drag a big CrossFit tough army dude up with us? We're just hanging out for the weekend. Nick, come on. I love you.
Probably only if we have his CrossFit video done. Then maybe he would probably want to go.
You know what? In all sincerity, we're really pulling in a lot of different episodes of the Primal Scream podcast.
We were talking a lot about it.
But we did some footage of the gym, of his new gym. We interviewed some people, and that's on that podcast. But I wanted to put together a commercial for him. And
we are putting together a commercial.
And I really want it to be really good. And so I haven't gotten it to him yet because
you keep fiddling.
I keep fiddling with it.
You just gotta get done with it.
I'm not happy yet with it, and I don't know if I need to get more footage or what, or spend some money on the soundtrack. Or I just want it to be more than what I have right now.
Yeah, and we may have to just say, "Hey guys, this is the best that we can do." Yep.
Todd's a little pissed at me.
I'm
he
not.
He really wants me to get this done,
no,
and I haven't
I
done
am
a good
not
job.
pissed. Not by a long. I am not pissed. I'm like you. I just want. I have that loose end hanging out there, and I want to fucking get it done and get it to them. And I don't have to think about it anymore because I know you're the one doing all the work. Trust me, I understand the editing that you're doing. I'm just saying, part of me's just like going, just.
Would you please, for the love of God, spend some time and get this shit done?
I'll help you. I told you I try to help. Today we're gonna get Skype.
We're
done.
gonna finish this. We're gonna work on some
Skype.
Skyping, and we're gonna work on the commercial for CrossFit 2.2, Cedar Rapids, Iowa. One of the best gyms there is for CrossFit.
Mm-hmm.
I truly, wholeheartedly believe that in my heart and soul. And I have not gone there recently. In fact, my membership has expired, and I feel really bad about it. I really kind of kick myself in the balls a little bit, but I don't. I have that type of work schedule, and I'm so focused on bringing the Primal Scream podcast to the next level. Because I'm doing all of the editing and I'm using the computer software. I'm trying to learn all this stuff, and it's my whole focus that I have not made time. I haven't made time.
You were talking about the podcast is slowly tanking.
No, I mean I'm spending all my time doing this stuff, and I haven't made a lot of time for myself and working out. And so my membership expired, and I haven't been back into CrossFit. Not because it's not a fantastic gym, not because they don't have amazing trainers, and not because the environment was awesome. I loved all of it. I enjoyed all of it. It was some of the best workouts I've ever had.
It's still one of my favorite places.
Todd is still a badass, and he's still
I
going.
love it. I'm not a badass.
And
but
your lady.
I still love it.
Well, I think I think anybody who makes it a priority to get in there to work out in any regard is a badass.
The crazy to think is in November it'll be 2 years.
2 years of solid CrossFit.
I've been doing it. Yeah.
You haven't taken a week off, have you?
Fuck yeah.
A week?
Oh yeah. I took my last week of work. A couple weeks ago, I had a really stressful week at work. I didn't go at all. I was just too wiped out. Yeah, like work was too hard, so I'd go home and I would stay up and be like till 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock at night watching TV or something.
Yeah,
just to zone out because things were so stressful. And I'd be like, "Well, there's no fucking way I'm going tomorrow."
It's fucking life.
So it was a week. So yeah. So I mean, I'm still going at it. And I mean, you talk to any CrossFitter once in a while, taking a little break is okay. You know, badasses probably don't, but I'm not that big of a badass. So that's just the way it goes. And I'm perfectly fine with admitting that about myself.
And what did Mrs. Todd do today?
Oh, she ran a 5K.
Yeah, but what was the 5K? What did it encompass? Was there a reason for the 5K? It was called fundraiser for something?
I think it was called Alive and Running. It was a 5K, I think, for a charity of some sort. I'm not sure. It's bad. I'm not sure exactly what it was about, but she was very excited to do it. And I'm telling you, she surprises me all the time because she's kicking ass and taking names. She wouldn't say that. She'd say that she's not running fast enough and things aren't happening like they should.
Yeah.
But she's kicking ass and taking names. I'm very proud of her.
Sometimes she's a Debbie Downer. But she needs to she needs to realize that she's doing more than I do. She's making the time to go to CrossFit a ton, and she should give herself credit for that. Mm-hmm. But she has a hard time giving herself credit for things like that. But fuck it. What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? Should we wrap this up?
Yeah.
Or did you want to talk about the movies this summer? What are we looking? What are you looking forward to seeing?
I loved that Tom Cruise movie. What's it?
What is
the Edge of Tomorrow? The Edge of Today? Or the Edge? I don't know what the name of the movie is, but
I think it's Edge of Tomorrow.
Okay.
Edge of Tomorrow.
Edge of Tomorrow. So the reason why I liked it, and I've talked about this before with movies, is like the Royal Tenenbaums. I like the opportunity for redemption. Movies that have a character progress through being a horrible fucking person, making mistakes, and they come through on the other side, and they end up doing the right thing, and they They end up doing okay, or becoming who they're supposed to be.
All right.
I like The Edge of Tomorrow because, first of all, I love Tom Cruise, but he hasn't really been in any movies that I was like, oh yeah, it was so good. But most of his are, the only one that I've seen recently that I didn't really care for him was that musical. There was some musical that he was like a rock and roll. He played like this rock god, something. I forget what it was, but
Oh yeah, I do remember.
and it was okay, but it was just like, nah. But when it comes to like Minority Report, fucking incredible movie. Oblivion, I thought was an incredible movie, kind of sci-fi-ish. And this one again is kind of sci-fi-ish, where the world's being run over by these creatures, and he actually gets to relive this one day.
It's like fucking Groundhog's Day.
It's exactly like Groundhog's Day, the premise. But then he gets to go back and relearn to the point where he can actually do something because
like all of a sudden he's a badass. Well, I mean, you're replaying this thing so that when he gets back and he's replaying it again, he's not this. He's not really the original pussy. All of a sudden he's got all this.
It still
knowledge.
catches you off guard because there's times when he's like practicing these machines, and the machine hits him against the wall, and he's going, I can't feel anything but my lips. And she walks over, boom, shoots him in the head, and he wakes up again in the same spot. And then later on, he's doing something like that, and he's like, "No, I'm okay. I think it's just my leg. My leg's just broken. I'll be okay. I can stand up." Boom, she shoots him in the head because he has to die to be able to wake up the next day. He has to. If he gets just injured and they take him to the hospital and give him some blood and they, bring him back to life and heal him, he can't relive the next day. And so it's just a very unique.
By the way, Rock of Ages was the movie that Tom Cruise did.
There were some, the best part about it was Alec Baldwin was fucking hilarious in that movie. I loved him in that movie. But
I'm going to have to watch that movie. I've never seen it.
It's a riot. There's some really funny things in it. But again, I liked him in it because it was Tom Cruise becoming this rock and roll parody god-like kind of guy. So that was kind of funny. But I just didn't really care for the movie in general. But this movie about getting a chance to try again is, I think, in Groundhog Day, doesn't he say something like, maybe God isn't bored. God's just seen it all before. Like he was saying, I've done this over and over and over again. This isn't hard. I know if I'm on this street corner at this time period, I'll catch the kid falling out of the tree.
I don't remember that ever happening in Groundhog's Day.
Yeah, he talks about...
He does?
Yeah, he talks about maybe, he's just seen it all. Maybe he's not, maybe he doesn't know everything. He has already done it all 100 times. And that's why it seems so magical, And I like the idea of us always getting a chance to redo something. And I think if we make that applicable to our daily lives, you have a fresh start every day. You have a do-over every day. If you think of things that way, it's new, it's fresh, it's going to happen differently. You can approach things differently. You can have a different outlook. I think that idea is a wonderful idea to live your life by. So you fucked up 10 times yesterday. Tomorrow's a do-over, a brand new day. Here we go. Every day is approached that way.
You're not a fucking loser.
Yeah, it's not your kid.
You don't have to be a loser for the rest of your life.
Yeah, if you're a bad husband yesterday, you can be a good one today. If you did a bad job with your kids yesterday, start over today and start out brand new. It's harder than fuck to do, but I think that that perspective is a wonderful one. I just like that movie a lot. I thought it was awesome.
I want to see that movie. There's another movie I want to see. I just saw the ad for it last night. It's called No Good Deed, and all my kids are black, and so when I see an awesome movie where the main characters are black, it catches me off guard.
Well, what's funny was you said that to me yesterday. We watched the preview together with your wife, and you go, I love that movie already because all the characters are black. And guess what? Every actor in that movie who is black, I've seen before, who are very, very good actors and actresses, right?
Yeah.
So, and the one guy is the main character on the TV show Luther, which is like a British detective show, which is a fucking fantastic movie.
Thor.
And he's also in what's the one where they have the big robots and they fight the Pacific Rim.
Pacific Rim. Yeah, he's a main guy in Pacific Rim.
I still haven't watched that yet.
He's a badass.
He's a really good actor.
Great actor.
Great actor. And the woman in that is also, she was in a show called a person of interest. She was the cop, the detective in Purchase of
Yes.
Interest.
Love
I
her.
love all those
Love
actors.
her in
And
that.
so when I was
Yeah.
watching this show, I wasn't even thinking that these are all black actors. I was going, oh, I love her. She's a great actress. Oh, he's a great actor. I can't wait to see him in this movie. I kept on going, oh, I like these guys. I know these actors. And I got stoked about it. And then you're like, I love movies where I got...
Yeah, it's recording.
God, that's hilarious.
There's going to be a lot of editing in this one. A lot of editing.
So the batteries ran out.
Yeah, so we were talking about No Good Deed, correct?
Yeah.
And we were talking about the fact that, when I saw the trailer, I thought, okay, when's Medina?
Really? See, I'm telling you, that's what
I'm
I
just
thought.
telling you, there are
is
very, very
It's
few
just surprising, but that's
all black. There are very, very few all black, main black actors and actresses in movies that are not completely ridiculous. Like, is it Medina?
Yeah. Oh, you mean the Tyler Perry movies?
Tyler Perry movies. I mean,
Well, they're not. They're not ridiculous. They're just
there are some
there's
that there's a
comedies.
lot that are completely ridiculous. And it is refreshing to me
Just to see
that
a normal movie.
that I'm seeing a movie and it is all the primary characters are black. To me, it's refreshing.
I understand.
And
that.
I mean, I know it's a horror movie,
It's a suspense movie.
suspense movie.
And you know what's funny is it probably is a movie that I'm not going to go see in the theater because I don't really dig stuff like that. But I liked seeing all those actors.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I was like, oh, because I mean, Luther's one of my all-time favorite shows on TV. One of my absolute favorites. Nobody else, and my wife's just like, oh my God, you're gonna watch this again? I'm like, it is really, really good.
He really is a fantastic actor. Fantastic actor. Dumb and Dumber 2. Oh, God. I'm really looking forward to seeing that because I saw Dumb and Dumber the first one when I was a kid. When I was much younger, and I can't wait to see that.
Well, and see, I didn't see it when I was a kid. I saw it as an adult, and I didn't like Jeff Daniels at all in that movie.
Really?
I like the other fella better because I
the other guy,
Jim Carrey.
Jim Carrey.
So I don't know why. I mean, I just didn't enjoy it as much with him in it. But then you learn to love. That's one of those like cult classics. You just learn to love that movie.
Mm-hmm.
And my Junior loves that movie. But then watching them back again, first of all, seeing them on the Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon, where they're both there and they're talking about him walking onto set the day after he won his Emmy for Best Actor on The Newsroom, which is a very dramatic show.
Right. Very
And
serious.
he's walking onto the set of Dumb and Dumber 2. T.O.
Completely different characters. You couldn't get much more polar opposite.
Yeah, you can see Jim Carrey doing that movie. You don't see
Sure.
Jeff Daniels doing that movie.
Right.
And so I don't know. I'm very excited too because I think that's kind of a cult classic. I just love, there is 99.8% chance we're going to be together. So you're telling me there's a chance. There's just one-liners in that movie that I just love.
Yeah. Okay. There's a movie that I already saw, which was X-Men: Days of Future Past. I want to watch it again.
Okay.
And there's a movie coming up called Lucy, and that has Scarlett Johansson and
Lucy?
Lucy.
Oh, I haven't seen that one.
And really quick synopsis from the trailer: she goes out partying and is given a date rape drug type of thing, and she wakes up the next morning and she's been cut, and there's a package of drugs put in her, and she's going to be a mule. She's going to be a drug mule for this new type of drug. And in the process of being that mule, I mean, she wakes up and she's been fucking cut open.
That's
She's
brutal.
just a partier. She's just a silly girl that gets taken advantage of. And so she gets to some spot, and at one point she gets a beating. And when somebody kicks her in the stomach, it rips open the bag of these new crazy drugs, and it leaks into her system at such a rate or such an overdose that her brain goes into overdrive, and it starts, you know that old saying about you only use 10% of your brain? Well, in this movie, it's the what if your brain is waking up, and you are slowly but surely going to achieve 100% of brain use. And so it just immediately from getting her ass kicked.
Is it kind of like that one movie with
the guy who takes the pill?
Takes the pill and it uses more of his brain and he starts doing that. Is it kind of like that or no?
It's kind of like that. This is all from the trailer, though. I mean, it's kind of like that, but it's so much more. Like, she's able to see the digital radio waves of people on their cell phones, and she's able to access different lines. Like, she's just staring out into space, and she sees these code going through the air.
That's like that TV show with that guy who was on.
Can you be any more general?
He has a chip in his head, and he can walk through. He can see digitally. You know what I'm talking.
Intelligence.
Intelligence. Yeah.
Intelligence.
It sounds kind of like that.
Yeah, I think it is kind of like that. But I mean, Intelligence is a show about a guy who has a microchip. Yeah, a microchip in his head. And this is about a girl who's going through a very chemical, organic change to her body. And she's actually able to start changing the environment around her because she has. Anyway, it looks like anything with Scarlett Johansson. 2 thumbs up. I'm gonna watch it because she's so fucking visually.
She's hotter than shit, but she's a fucking great actress too.
She is a great actress.
She's awesome.
She is a great actress. I do want to see Transcendence. That's with Johnny Depp.
Yeah, and that's already out of theaters. I don't think it did very well.
It's out of theaters?
Yeah, I don't think it did too great.
Damn it! Really? I didn't know that.
Well, the cheap theater may have it soon. Collins Road Theaters, one of our favorite places.
Real butter.
Well, it's
real butter on the popcorn. You gotta appreciate the little things.
I appreciate their price. That's what I appreciate the most.
Guardians of the Galaxy. Are you gonna see that
with the raccoon and fuck?
Yeah.
I don't know about that one. That might just be too much for me.
Why so much?
It just looks dumb.
You have to see it though because it plays a part in the whole X-Men. Not X-Men.
No, it does not. Really?
It plays a part in the whole.
Oh my God.
Thor, Avengers. I'm sorry, the whole Avengers, Thor movies. It plays a part. Marvel is doing something that is really the first. Nobody has ever done this to this scale. Marvel, the people who did the Avengers, they've taken a television show, 3 different movies: Thor, the Avengers, and I believe.
Superman?
The Hulk, right? They took those and they brought them together. I think they're even looking to bring in the Spider-Man movie.
Okay.
But they have done it in such a way that the television show and the movies are all gearing up. They're all pieces of this puzzle gearing up to these big climactic.
Because there's another one
world, this universe, this Marvel universe.
Is it what's I almost said RoboCop. Iron Man 3.
Yes.
Iron Man 3 was all about. They talked a lot in Iron Man 3 about what happened in New York and all this stuff was how to do all of the Avengers movie.
Right.
And so I was like, it's just so weird to have a movie talking about another movie. Yeah.
So this is kind of the first that I've ever seen of that. So Guardians of the Galaxy is another piece of that puzzle that you have to watch to understand what's going to happen in the next Thor movie or the next Iron Man.
It.
You have to watch it.
Oh God. See,
you're gonna want to watch it.
I feel like I'm being manipulated. I don't like being manipulated.
You're gonna want to watch it. That's all. You're gonna want to watch it. Fuck it. Dawn of the Planet of the Apes.
Oh, that I want to see.
I desperately want to see that. I shouldn't say desperate. I would like to see
really
Dawn of the Planet of the Apes. Yeah.
I really want to see it too.
The whole Planet of the Apes saga, the whole movie, the beginning of it, really happened when I was a kid. So I loved the whole thing of Planet of the Apes and Return to the Planet of the Apes and all that stuff.
I heard my dad talking to me about them seeing the Statue of Liberty in the sand.
Right.
And
damn you all to hell.
Yeah, I thought that was amazing. I remember watching that movie with my dad and being shocked by it, but I still thought the monkeys were stupid. It didn't look very real to me. But I think the way they did the very first one was fantastic. You couldn't have had a better character with Caesar and the guy doing his voice and his facial expressions and the look of things.
Yeah,
and then
sure.
having what's his face as the main guy in it. He's such a smart, savvy young actor.
Mm-hmm.
I thought he was fantastic. And this next one, I remember going, "Oh no, my one of my kids is like, oh, he's not going to be in the second movie." And I was like, "Buddy, he can't be in the second movie. He's gone. The world,
Why?
because the world's changed. There's been cataclysms all over the place and things have always horrible
Would it be
things have
unrealistic
happened.
would it be unrealistic to think that he survived any of all
Yeah.
that or all that?
I think it would be. It'd be like one of those things where if a disease wiped out the earth, chances are you and I are not going to be here, and most of our kids aren't. If one happens to make it, boy, that's lucky. So I think that this whole calamity that happens in the world for this next movie, it's unrealistic to think that he's not caught up in that.
Yeah,
But I
don't know.
But think about it. If they bring James Franco back for the second movie, and he's so related to Caesar that he's still part of it somehow,
you see
it seems wacky.
You see in the trailer one guy that goes to the apes and goes, "I need to speak to Caesar."
Right.
How does that guy know his name?
There has to be some kind of
Is that James
transfer.
Franco? Is that James Franco in the future?
Oh, I don't know. That's
Is
a
it
good
just a
question.
different actor playing that part?
If
character?
that happens, that'll piss me off.
Really?
I don't like it when they fucking switch actors. I hate that shit.
No, you're right. I don't like that stuff either.
Yeah, I hate that shit.
Another movie I want to see, If I Stay. It's got the chick from is it Kick-Ass? You know the little girl. You ever see
Never
the movie?
saw,
You
no.
never saw the movie Kick-Ass?
No, they look horrible. No.
It's really funny
Mm-hmm.
about superheroes.
It was produced by Brad Pitt, so I should probably watch it with my wife.
Was it really?
Yeah.
Anyway, I think the actress's name is Chloe Grace Moretz.
I don't know. Sorry, man.
She played Carrie. The movie Carrie.
The original?
Okay, there's the original movie Carrie.
I
no,
never- I
she
never
was
saw-
not in the original. There
I
is
never
a
saw the sequel.
re-release.
I never saw the re-release. I never saw it.
It's really hard to have a conversation with you right now. I just want to punch you in the face.
Don't use my words back on me. It's so unfair.
Can you believe Todd said that to me the other day? Todd said, I go, "Hey man, you all right?" We were at a bar sitting there talking to somebody, and that somebody got up to use the restroom, and I turned to Todd and I said, "Hey buddy, are you all right?" He goes, "For the last 45 minutes, all I've thought about is punching you in the fucking face."
And
That right there is friendship. That is a lifelong friend that can say to you, "Dude, for the last 45 minutes, all I could think about was punching you in the fucking face."
And you mean a lifelong friend by you saying, "Oh, that's okay to say that."
Yeah,
Somebody you
for
care
me,
about.
I was just like, "Okay, I'm sober. I'm sober now." I had been drinking and I had jumped the gun on something. We won't go into specifics.
What's funny is I remember staring at the wall, going, "Should I just say how I feel, or should I sugarcoat it?"
Should
And
never.
my first thought
sugarcoat it
was
with
like,
me.
he would appreciate if I was very honest and upfront with him.
Yeah, you got to check it. You got to check that son of a bitch. And that son of a bitch that night was me.
The best part is your wife loved it. That's
My
the best
wife
part.
loved it, and now my wife says it to me. I just want to punch you in the fucking face. That's what she says to me now.
She said it
She said it today. She said it today.
When she said it in front of me yesterday, I didn't even pick up that it was what I had said. Because I felt so regretful after saying it. And so she said it, and she started laughing, and you looked at me, and and I was like, "Why is that so funny?" And I was like, "Oh yeah, because I said it to
That's
you."
right, because
Okay.
I threatened your life. You threatened me. You threatened me.
Whatever.
But anyway, all that sounds. It's going to be a big summer. It's going to be a big year for movies, and I'm looking forward to all of it because I'm a huge movie goer. It's one of my favorite places to be at is a movie theater.
Yeah, me too.
That and being on the road doing podcasts with
I was
Todd.
going to say, there's good things happening this year for the Primal Scream, too.
It's going to be great.
And TPSP Productions.
And TBSP Productions. So, if you know what? If you like our podcast, if you like just listening to it, that's one thing. Send a link. Send an email to a friend with our link to that podcast. If you like our YouTube videos, comment. If there's something you don't like about them, comment.
We're looking for constructive criticism.
Constructive criticism.
We want to get better.
If there's topics that you want us to talk about that you think that we haven't talked about yet, comment so that we can see that stuff. All of it's about learning and trying different things. And just to let you know, in the coming weeks, the podcasts that are going to be coming up, we're going to have Doug Thompson.
Doug Thompson, a hypnotist and a comedian.
It's going to be fucking great.
Supposedly he does fantastic impersonations. At the same time, he also uses
hypnosis to help
as
people
a therapy.
To help people quit smoking and things like that. So that'll be a great one. We're going to have that. He's going to be coming in this week. I
actually just got nervous because I thought, I'm wanting to be a little more susceptible to hypnotism. Yeah. What if he takes a chance and does it with us here, and he makes me does fucking crazy shitty things?
No, that's good. That's okay.
That sounds nerve-wracking. Now all of a sudden I'm nervous. Before I was very excited. Now I'm nervous.
What? Here's the thing. You can blame it on the hypnosis, and you can just be like, oh, so what? So I got up and jerked off in front of the camera.
I was just thinking the same thing.
Explicit.
What if he makes me get up and jerk off in front of the camera?
This podcast is explicit. So whatever happens. And if I do some silly shit or I suck my thumb like a baby, it's hypnosis. I blame it on that.
But Doug Thompson is going to be on pretty soon. That's going to be
We're looking to do a podcast at a brewery in the Quad Cities.
Yep. Great River Brewery is coming up as well. And we're going to be in their tasting room. We'll give you a view of where they brew their
We're going to check out the whole process.
Their wheat is fantastic. FYI, I just tasted it not long ago. So,
oh, really?
Yeah. Yep, Alex, one of their media specialists, I believe is what his title is, or something like that.
And we also are going to be meeting with a hypnotist.
I'm not saying Doug's not a true therapeutic hypnotist, but she does it purely for therapy.
Yeah. And she also has a take on the health and well-being of our children.
Yep.
Right?
And now
with education
how sugar affects things and ADHD and things like that. Should be a good one. And the best part about that one is she is going to hypnotize both of us.
Both of us are going under. Oh God.
Yeah. And it won't be a joke. It'll be more serious.
There are very specific things that if she can pull off her magic, her voodoo, if she can do the voodoo that she does, there are very specific things that I'd be asking for her to help me work on as a human being.
And we'll list those things out so that we can come back and talk about them at a later point.
But I also want to try that fucking what is it? What the fuck is it called?
Post-life kind of thing?
Post-life regression.
There you go. Well, I mean,
have you guys ever heard of that?
If you have to believe in reincarnation to do that.
I think you just need to be open to hypnosis. Here's a crazy sily thing. The Fourth Kind. If you people have never seen the movie The Fourth Kind,
why do you have to fucking bring that show up?
It freaks out Todd. It's amazing. I love it.
I hate that movie.
He gets really scared. He's a big fucking pussy when it comes to The Fourth Kind.
So terrible. No, I'm not a pussy. That was a scary fucking movie. I just think about it right now and I get goosebumps.
Fucking chills.
I was watching it during the daytime. Even when I was in the middle of the day, I turned it off and looked outside. It's nice and sunny and bright and blue in the sky. And I'm just like, I feel horrible. Something bad's going to happen. I hate that fucking movie.
So anyway, in that movie, people get hypnotized and they go deep under. And when they do go deep under, they start reliving the fact that they've been abducted by aliens.
The screams
and
in that movie.
And it's supposed to be based on a true story.
The screams in that movie are so horrendous. They're so core primal terror screams that I cannot get past how bad they are.
You know what?
They're horrible.
They elicited the same type of response or that gut feeling when I watched Blair Witch.
Okay. We need to stop talking about this movie. I really, really dislike it.
Anyway.
Let's switch topics. Pretty please.
You never know. We could go under hypnosis and Todd could start screaming like a bitch.
Oh, God.
Because he's been abducted and never knew it.
I think I'm pretty sure I've been anally probed. I'm not sure, though, but I'm pretty sure. I'll tell you right now. Don't hypnotize me.
You know what's funny? We went to that sweat lodge and there was a chick that was like, I thought you guys were a gay couple. No.
We did talk about that, didn't we?
Yeah, but it still amazes me. And then when you bring up the whole anal probing thing, it just
goes from one thing to another.
Yeah, whatever. Fuck it. So that's it for tonight's podcast. it was just kind of a silly off the cuff. Let's talk about the different things
We
that are in
haven't
the
done
media.
one just the two of us for a bit, so
Yeah.
it's kind of nice to get kind of regress. so
Yeah,
to
and I
speak.
didn't want to talk about anything politically charged and nothing that's going on in the government because that shit can just be depressing.
And it
I just
only
wanted
gets
to be
worse.
silly. Yeah, it's all about what you focus on. But we got some really neat things that are coming up on the TPSP Productions Primal Scream podcast.
If you
So
want to get a hold of
stay
us,
tuned.
if you want to get a hold of us, go to theprimalscream.org. When you're there, you can follow us on Stitcher, iTunes for the podcast itself. Go to YouTube and type in the Primal Scream podcast. You'll get that awesome gorilla head will pop up. You can look at our past podcasts, listen to them, and see the last, I think, 7 or 8 are on video. Also, like us on Facebook. Please follow us on Twitter. We try to tweet quite a bit. I really enjoy Twitter.
And
quite a bit.
subscribe on YouTube. Subscribe.
Yeah, make sure you subscribe. That's a big hit for us. So that's the way to get
All
hold
of
us.
these things, if you're not aware of it, all of these things are helping us go from this little, tiny little grassroots, cute little thing, because we need to be able to show potential sponsors that, yeah, we're getting hits. We have people that subscribe.
There's some growth there.
There's growth. There's people that like watching and are entertained by the show. So
then
all
that'll-
these things mean a lot to us. They might not mean a lot to you, but it means a lot to us.
And we can also, it would allow us to be able to give other people their own voice, which would be fantastic.
Yeah, and that's
key.
really the bigger goal is to
Yep.
be able to give anybody and everybody who wants to try what we're doing the platform in which to do it in. And your donations, if you go to our donation tab, that's what that money is going towards. So help us
Hook
to
us
help
up.
other people
Help-
to entertain you.
Help me help you.
Help me help you to help other
Yeah.
people to entertain you.
You complete me.
Oh, Jesus Christ. That's it for the Primal Scream podcast tonight. I'm Matt,
I am always Todd.
and we'll see you later.
Adios.
Good night.